Today, Precarious plays
Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. So Bannerlord, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a little bit about the main quest. Doesn't feel done. And what's there doesn't feel good. A lot of people that are familiar with the game online, and I would count myself among this number. If someone asked me about it, which, would you care to? Here, ask me about Bannerlord's main campaign.
What can you tell me about Bannerlord's main campaign?
I'm glad you asked. I would tell you to ignore it. Ignore it for as long as possible, because if you try to engage with it as soon as it's available, you will probably be utterly destroyed. Because it encourages you to try to, like, go make a kingdom.
Yeah.
And if you do it promptly, you're going to be, like, way underprepared. They're like, hey, go do this really hard thing. Without any, they don't ease you into it or provide very good advice at all, you know?
Yeah.
It's bananas.
Did you play to a win condition when it was in beta?
Yeah, I played a couple different times. I played until the main quest ran out. And I also spent a lot of time in sandbox mode, just sort of making my own. Making my own fun. Setting my own objectives, where it's like, I'm going to try to... I'm only going to use bandit units, and I'm going to take over a town just with bandits. I'm going to make like a bandit kingdom. Right?
Yeah.
I missed the portal. Neat. So here's how it goes in summary, as far as I've gotten in the most recent version. I've gotten a little further in early access, but yeesh. The way it works is your parents are killed, and your younger brother and sister are captured by bandits. And then you have to... Your first objective is to find some of the people what done did it, and you bring them to justice.
Okay.
And then after that, your older brother, who doesn't get captured, he's like, hey, you start building up a fighting force, because whatever we do, we're going to need some help. And I'm going to go search for our brother and sister. So then your paths diverge for a little bit, and you have to establish a fighting force. You need some men, and you need some money. And once you have both of those, then your paths eventually converge again. And at the same time, there's this sort of... It starts as sort of like the B plot, but becomes the A plot. So you just sort of like by happenstance, you end up helping some sort of historian or scholar, I think, who's been captured. And he's like, thanks for saving me. Hey, I found what I believe to be like a culturally significant relic, and I was trying to transport it somewhere. But I'm super not cut out for this. I was like 50 feet outside my home before I got captured by bandits. Please take this. And you determine that this is a piece of the nigh mythical dragon banner, which belonged to an emperor, and it was shattered out of pettiness after a battle in which that emperor died. And you have to go around the map and talk to all of the different lords to sort of like get their views on the scenario. And you learn that like it was this big scrape where a lot of different people had there were a lot of different competing interests in this battle. And of course, the winners are like, we're super smart and did a really good job. And the losers are like, everybody else is a bastard. But once you talk to everyone, you get a clearer picture where it's just like, oh, so it was all just luck and happenstance. And oh, wait, that's just war. Mm-hmm. And no, you guys aren't anything special. You just were in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. Yeesh. So it immediately gives you like this really sour impression of all of most of the lords. Yeah. Most of the lords. I think that there are a couple of them that come away looking a little better than the others.
And it's like, oh, so we had a prick-waving dick fight. Nice.
Yeah. So it gives you this incentive to like, to want to change things, which is good. I think it's a good setup because it gives you like an immediate thing to do, which is like searching for your family, and then that's resolved pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And then it puts you in this larger scenario, which is more involved in the world. Is cool. And then that's when things start to break down. So if you find a couple of individuals that have information on the other 2 bits of the banner, one of them is like, I was part of the Empire, and I hated it. The Empire, they're all a bunch of bastards, and if you tell me that you are going to destroy the Empire, I will tell you where one of the 3 bits of it is. Then there's a spy master, a lady spy master, who's like, I was part of the Empire, and it was the best. If you tell me that you're going to use the influence that the banner will provide, like the rallying cry it will afford you, if you tell me that you're going to use it to reunite the Empire, which is currently in a 3-way civil war, if you reunite the Empire, I will tell you where 1/3 of the banner is, right? Mm-hmm. And that's fine, because it's a very effective way of establishing 2 very different objectives. And it's interesting because you do have to promise both of them that you're going to go along with their plan.
Oh.
Yeah?
That sets you up. You have to break a promise.
Yeah. So I think
quit playing.
Or quit playing. Or go play Sandbox. Mm-hmm. Sandbox mode. So I think that's pretty compelling. I think that's pretty good. But once you have made those promises and you have all 3 pieces of the banner and you reassemble it, then it's like, okay, you need to get real big, and you need to establish a kingdom, or you need to back a kingdom. Whew.
This is an enormous piece of machinery.
Yeah, just to protect this one thing. I wonder what it is.
What is it?
You know what it is.
I don't know what
pretend.
It is.
Yes, you do.
What is it? Okay, I did know what it was. I had a guess. Yes.
Here's the triumphant-ish debut of the screw attack in 3D. It is a little rough, but I do like how you have to use it to get out of here. So, are you ready?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's limited to 5 jumps, and it's extremely difficult to use in combat, but if you can hit with it, it does what you would expect it to.
Screw some things up.
Yeah, and see now, this used to be a real problem, right?
Yes. Gravity?
Boom.
What's that?
Whoa.
Who cares?
It's fun when it goes well. Mm-hmm. So, if you take the game's advice, which is essentially that's what a quest log is, you know? Yeah. It's just like recommended. Here's the problem. I think I can summarize the problem that I have with Bannerlord in general very promptly right here. Mm-hmm. Bannerlord suffers from being halfway between a simulationist sandbox and a video game. Mm-hmm. It's torn because sometimes it's like, so here's an example, right? You know what, let me throw up what I think is probably a straw man. Let me throw out a straw man first, real fast. Someone, an asshole, might be like, it's supposed to be hard to make a kingdom. You can't just, a peasant can't just, or not a peasant, but a landless lord would really struggle to make a kingdom. And to that I would say, like, it would be, I think, very difficult to convince a lord that you are the right person to act as a mercenary for them as well. And it takes like 2 buttons to do that, you know? Mm-hmm. It's as easy as like, hey, I'm gonna be a mercenary.
And they're like, oh, sounds good.
You just need to have like a little bit of reputation to be a mercenary for them. And the game does not. So here's a counterpoint, right? I think it would be reasonable to say, like, if you develop a bad reputation as a mercenary, people should stop hiring you. But the game doesn't care about that. Mm-hmm. And it shouldn't, because it would make the video game part of the video game less fun to play. And I think that's sort of the problem that I have with it. It's because sometimes it's trying to be a simulation, and other times it's trying to be like this raucous adventure that you're going on. And
so it undermines both.
Do I have to be holding forward? I guess I have to be holding forward. Huh. Hold on. How do I... 1, 2, 3. Oops. Did it with bad timing. I'm gonna get it. This time is the charm.
Whee!
There we go.